acts. Mercy that brings strange testimonies. Mercy that brings strange miracles. Mercy, 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 mercy. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Mercy. We thank you. We bless your name. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Mercy doesn't respond to no vacancy. Mercy creates vacancies. Do you understand? Were you here when one of our mommies shared the testimony of a son that was in UK that we were praying for? Studied chemistry, graduated with chemistry. He went for a 3-month course on web development. And now one of the top companies in UK wanted to get a web developer. And then 3 of them applied. And the guy applied. In the vacancy, they said the person must have first degree in computer science. And now we have web development experience. He has just learned how to do web development. And the mother told me and said, Pastor, this guy has just given his life to Christ. And I'm just bringing him up in the faith. If he doesn't get this job, I don't know what will happen to his faith. Pastor, let's pray. This guy must get the job. So we started praying. 300 people. They were reduced to 3. And when they got there at last, what they were asking is what he was. So computer science. Computer science. They were reduced to 2. Other person has computer science. He has chemistry. With 3 months web development experience. Computer science. With web. And then they wrote him and said, sorry, we will not be able to give you that job. He's computer science person. You did well, but he's computer person we want. So the job was given to the computer person. So the mom called me and said, he's not picking phone. At that day, I was on my road to the airport to go and pick my brother. So our assignment was that I was going to call him in the UK and talk to him. I forgot. You see, the way I forgot. In the excitement that I want to go and pick my brother that I have not seen in a long while at the airport, I forgot. But before I forgot, when I was buying fuel, I was saying, oh Lord, let your mercy speak for him. Let your grace. But I didn't go into the warfare prayers. I forgot. And then the mother called me the day after. You know what happened? They called him the day after and said, everybody on the panel says they like you. Listen to us. So we can't do without somebody of a quality. So we have created another place for you. Listen to me. They created that place for him. But he has done another interview before then. So they called him again that same day and said, this other interview, we are giving you the offer. So as not to disappoint the people that created a new space for him, he went to that space to work for 1 month and then resigned and went to that new place. That is what grace does for you. Hello, are you here? That's why I say grace and mercy does not respond to there is no vacancy. Some of you think that grace and mercy does not work abroad. It's only in Nigeria you pray, pray, pray. If you go abroad, everything, when you get there, you will know you need grace and mercy. You will know you need. When you see people qualify, by the time they bring their certificate. Are you here? Grace and mercy still speaks out. I was watching Reverend Odukoya's son abroad, sharing a testimony of a unit. She was working in another unit. There's another unit that they needed a head of a unit. There was somebody that was understudying the head of a unit that has worked there 10 years, that has experience in that unit for 10 years. She does not have experience in that unit. She has an experience in another unit. But he wanted it. He spoke to God. God said, apply. When he applied, people in the office say, you know this guy has been trained for this thing. Why are you applying? Why are you wasting your time? And you know, interview that happen where is glass, where you be inside, everybody will look and say, you're here. The lady said, she went to they interviewed the first person who was being trained for that job. She went to the bedroom. While going to the bedroom, she heard the head of the interview panel and the guy that was being ready for the job talking and said, oh, you did very well. The job is already yours, don't bother. You did very well interview. When she has not done an interview. But she went in and did the interview. And at the end of it, they say, if you that have not worked in this department before can perform this, it is you we need. They gave her the job. There is nothing called I'm not qualified when grace is speaking. Are we here? That's not what I'm here to preach. This one, it just came in this way. For you to know there is grace and there is mercy for you. Most of the time, I take time to explain this way because there are many people that are unbelievers in the church. They have no belief. They have no faith. They are full of doubt. They have experiences to prove to me that it does not work. But I have experiences to prove to you that it works. That is why it's working for me and it's not working for you. Are we here? My last promotion in my office, they didn't give me vacancy. But I got the promotion. There was no vacancy for me. But I got the promotion. There was none. I told you, people who come to the sign day, they will look. They will see their vacancy. We were there, no vacancy. But we wrote the exam. We came on tops. They gave us the job. Don't take no for an answer in 2022. Do you understand what I'm saying? Grace will speak for you. Genesis 1:26. Let me just talk to you from my heart. Genesis 1 from verse 26. Genesis 1 from verse 26. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth. In this verse alone is the nature of the man that God created, and the reason why God created man. Please go with me. Let's look at this. If you don't understand Genesis 1:26 to 28, you will underperform on earth. Please listen to me. If you don't understand Genesis 1:26 to 28, you will underperform on earth. You need to know your nature. You need to know your attributes. And they are written in Genesis 1:26 to 28. But let's take 26 today. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. I remember my first study in physics was light. Can anybody remember reflection, lens, mirror, error due to parallax? Anybody can remember that? And they told us concave, convex, plane, mirror, plane, lens, and the distance between one another. I think my brain is still a little bit sharp. I can't You were created. Your nature is the image of God. Is the likeness of God. The word called image there in the Hebrew means resemblance. Semblance. So you resemble God. The word used for likeness means similitude, means fashion. You were created to resemble God, And you were created in the similitude of God. You were created in the fashion of God. See, when I was much younger in the faith, when I read this thing, it looks too big and wonderful for me to understand. How can you say I'm created in the image and the likeness of God? Until God took me to Genesis 5:3. Let's look at Genesis 5:3. Genesis 5:3. Genesis 5:3. Look at this. When Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son. In what? In his own likeness. After his image. And what did God say at their meeting? Let us create God in our image, in our likeness. And Adam fathered a son in his likeness, after his image. The same way we are to God in characteristics and quality is the same way our children are to us. Maybe the destiny is different. Sometimes the way we behave will be different. But there are some children you look like, you say, is this not the child of Ogaiza? Because he is after the similitude and the resemblance cannot be faulted. There are some people, everywhere they sow their white oats and they bring the child home, nobody argues. There are some children you can't ask them to do DNA over. Go and check Abiola's children. You will see the ear after the similitude of their father. You were created after the similitude. And that word image means the characteristics. So we have the characteristics of God. That word likeness means quality. We have the qualities of God. But that does not make us equal with God. God's nature in theology, God's attributes are divided into two. The communicable attributes and the incommunicable attribute. The communicable attribute are the attribute of God that can be transferred, that can be shared. There are some that cannot be transferred, they cannot be shared. You will never share your glory with anyone. There are some things that God does not share. There are some things He shares. Okay, look at this. God's attribute, God is love. You can love, can't you? Can you not? God is merciful. He is compassionate. You can be merciful, can't you? You are compassionate. God walked for 7 days. You can walk, can't you? Those are what we call the communicable attributes of God. But there are some incommunicable attributes of God that you dare not even talk about. Omnipresence. What is happening in your house now, do you know? Omnipotent, almighty. You are not almighty. So when we are created with the characteristics and qualities of God, there are some things of God that we can only admire that we don't have. God is the only all-powerful. Even though He can give us some power, but He's the only all-powerful. God is the only one that knows all things, but He can give us word of knowledge to also know some things and prophecy. Are we still in church? We were created with dignity. We were created with honor. God's plan for us as His image and likeness is for us to show forth some part of divinity in our humanity that makes people to know that God exists, that God is living, that God is alive. So listen to me. You are created in the image of the supernatural God. Therefore, you are supernatural. You have supernatural attributes. You are created to be naturally supernatural, and to be supernaturally natural. Supernaturally natural. Stop looking at yourself as a normal person. You are supernatural. Look at the testimony of Daddy. Carried sand, bath somebody with it, and everything changed. You think any other person can do that if he is not connected to divinity? You are supernatural. It's normal. Are we in church? I will not be tempted to take the two things I've taken in the first two services. The CDs or the messages to be sent to you. Please check it. In the first service, I spoke about how do we look like God. We look like God and we are supernatural because we are spirits. At the second service, I spoke about we look like God and we are supernatural because God has delegated his authority and his power to us. At this third service, let me just take one more and I'll continue next week. We look like God and we are supernatural because we have supernatural intelligence. Listen to me. None of your children are dull. It is the parent that does not know what to do. None of your children are failures. It is the parent that have not brought the supernatural into the matter. Our God, the supernatural God, is an all-knowing God. Romans 11:33 and 34. Romans 11:33 and 34. Look at this. Oh, the depths of the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments, and his ways are past finding out. His ways are unscrutable. He is the depth of all wisdom, is the depth of all knowledge. Our God is supernatural intelligence himself. Look at verse 34. For who has known the mind of the Lord? Who is the one that gives God advice? God is supernatural intelligence. So God has a supreme mind, and he has an indefinite intelligence. And we look like him. Hello, listen to me. We can reflect God's intelligence. We can reflect God's wisdom. I hope you know that the moon does not have light. I hope you know that the moon does not have light. If you don't know, the moon does not have light. Knows them all equally, vividly. What we are saying is this. God does not know the future and the future. God does not know the present and the present. He does not know He knows the past, the present, and the future at the same time, equally. Hello? Please, do you understand that? So, he is not waiting for the future to tell you the future. He created it. He knows the past, the present, and the future equally. Listen to me. He made you in his image. Even though you don't have equal capacity and equal intelligence, you can sniff and reflect some of the intelligence of God. You are you are supernatural. You have supernatural intelligence. Talk to yourself. Let me hear you. Say, I have supernatural intelligence. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Let me hear. I have. Talk to yourself. Let me hear. I have. See, I have a brother that works in prophetic. When we're in secondary school, we're in the same class. I will not tell you the story about how I was in the same class with him. We did everything. We have the same set of friends, set of everything. We did everything together. When we want to write the exam, the guy would just wake up and he said he had a dream that question 1 is light, question 2 is heat, question this thing. I was not taking him serious at games. That has an information ahead. 1 Corinthians 2:16. Listen, you have supernatural intelligence. You can ask for it. You can activate it. You can access it. Look at this. But who has understand the mind of the Lord so as to do what? To instruct him. Oh yeah, let's read the last part together. But I love this verse, but I have not been able to understand it well. I keep digging into it, and I keep discovering that I don't know it. I have the mind of Christ. I can think like Christ. I can access some of the information that Christ has. I can have the perspective of Christ. I can see things from Christ's perspective. The wisdom of Christ. So I can start a business and bring the mind of Christ to bear upon that business. I have the mind of Christ. But did you see that it did not say the pastor have the mind of Christ? Can we read it together? Let's go. Can we have it on the screen and we read it together? But we have the man. As long as you are born again, you have access to supernatural intelligence. Listen to me. Did you notice that God created everything in raw materials and then left man? Why? Because man was created in the image of God with supernatural intelligence. So when he created a tree, he put a bed in that tree. He put a chair in that tree. He put paper in that tree. But he only created a tree and left it. So man, now having access to supernatural intelligence, started thinking about chair. He took the tree and converted it to a chair. Listen to me. Some of the things you are praying for, God has it in raw form. Use supernatural intelligence and mine them out. A lazy man cannot mine it out. 2-3 weeks ago, I saw somebody sharing the 13 equations that changed the world. I studied engineering. I did all the equations, but I never knew the usefulness. In fact, up till now, I don't know the usefulness. Engineering maths 1, engineering maths 2. We did everything. But those equations change the world. You can access it. Now, listen. You are now doing that small business. You are losing. Have you seen Laplace transform before? You can't have access to supernatural intelligence and you'll be having loss. So what we are doing is this. You go home. You pray to God. Lord, this thing I'm doing, the intelligence, the access, the knowledge, the information that will separate me from every other person. Oh, Lord, give it to me. Are we here? Gold is hidden. Everything precious is hidden. And most of the time, they are hidden in books, hidden in knowledge, hidden in encyclopedias, and you don't want to read. Even the Bible in your hand, you have not read it every day. Now Sunday, they read them for church. And you want to mine supernatural intelligence, but you don't read the Bible. WAEC is not the detector or the reflection of your intelligence. Are we here? I did not say go and fail. Before people go start jumping up saying some things they don't understand. You are super intelligent. He said that let me